Yes, folks, we are back. It's DevOps Rob with another gaming tech chat. And in this one, we're going to be talking about Streamlabs OBS. Now, if you've never heard about Streamlabs OBS, let me break it down for you. Streamlabs OBS is a broadcasting software which is aimed at streamers. So streaming could be anything. It could be people playing games, which is why I put it on the gaming tech chat. But it could also be people that are streaming maybe tutorials on YouTube or Twitch or Facebook Live or any other platform that you decide to use. Streamlabs OBS is designed for that purpose, right? So I think the best way to explain it is for me to just get into Streamlabs itself. So let's go and have a look. Okay, so let's dive straight into this. Okay, folks, so what you want to do is you want to head over to streamlabs.com. And then when you get there, you want to select Streamlabs OBS from the products menu here. So on this page, you just want to hit the download button. I have already downloaded it, so I'm not going to bother hitting that, but you would just go ahead and download that. When it comes to installing the software, you're literally on the Mac going to have a file that you're going to have to drag into your applications folder. And from there, you'll be able to start up Streamlabs OBS. It will normally guide you through some settings to configure your streaming platform. So in my case, it's YouTube. You could be a Twitch streamer, for example, or it could be Facebook Live or whatever your streaming platform is. It will allow you to configure those settings. The other thing it allows you to do is you can import settings from OBS itself, right? So anyone that's not aware, Streamlabs OBS is a bit of a spin-off of another software, which is called OBS. Now, OBS is also a free piece of software, but we're not going to get too much into that today. We're looking specifically at Streamlabs OBS. If you choose not to import settings from OBS, then you can start afresh, which is what I've done. All right, so let's take a look at what that looks like. Right, so now we're in Streamlabs OBS. Let's give you a really quick tour around of the software. So the first thing I want to draw your attention to is because I've configured my YouTube as my streaming service on here, we already have this mini feed where I can see my recent subscribers. Right, so that's actually quite nice. The other thing that's really good is when you're actually in a live stream, it's quite important to engage with your viewers. So one way you want to do that is keeping an eye on the chat. So here, if we hit this arrow button here, I mean, we're currently offline at the moment, but had we been streaming live, any comments from my viewers would be listed here. So I can keep an eye on what people are saying and respond accordingly. So that's really cool. But most importantly is you want to be able to configure how your stream looks to your viewers. And we do this by creating scenes, right? So if we look at this section over here, we can see we have a box called scenes, and there's already one scene inside there. We'll go ahead and add a second one. And in this case, we're going to call it camera. Okay, now scenes are a collection of sources. Now what I mean by that is if we go over to the next section where we see sources, we can add a source here. So maybe the first thing we want to do to make it look interesting is add some kind of background image, right? So if we hit image here and add source, and we'll leave that as, well, in fact, we'll call it background and we'll add that source, right? And here we get this pop-up box. So what we can do is just browse the files on our machine. And I will just select maybe this file here and select that, and we'll hit done. So now we have a background, but maybe it's a little bit too big. So we can go ahead and resize that according to how we wish it to look, right? So resize it a bit more and maybe do it like that. And that's fine just for demo purposes. Now, we can add as many sources as we need. So what we'll do is we'll add a second source here. So we'll add one called video capture device. Now a video capture device is going to be something like a camera, for example, or maybe your Elgato game capture, or whatever capture card it is that you're using to capture your gaming. So we'll add that, and I'm going to call this one Brio because I'm going to be adding my Logitech Brio to this. And it comes up with this configuration box. So all we have to do is select from our devices, and we have Logitech Brio, and you should see my picture appear right there, which is nice. So we'll hit done. And again, we have the ability to resize this as we see fit. So maybe we want it that size there. And just for demo purposes, we'll go ahead and maybe add a logo to this as well, right? So if we hit add, Again, we'll use the image. And the reason why I'm doing this is I want to show you what it looks like when you go to add multiple of the same type of sources. So here we're adding another image source, but as we've added the background as an image source as well, it gives us the option to reuse that as well. But we don't want to do that in this case. What we'll do is we'll just click on this button here where it says add new source instead. And we're going to call this one logo. And we'll add source. And again, we can just browse our files and I'll select, maybe we'll just use the Game Tech Chat logo. And we'll add that there. And we just want to resize that a little bit, I think. So we'll resize that. Oh, I'm moving it. And we'll pop that there, right? So straight away, just in a matter of a few minutes, we've built a scene that looks a lot more interesting than just maybe my camera by itself. Now, this is probably not the best scene because, you know, it's just a demo and I haven't taken the time to maybe creatively analyze what looks good where, but I just wanted to demonstrate to you how you can build a scene. And then let's just go to the original scene that was there, which again is blank, and we'll just maybe build something a little bit different, right? So we'll just add another source. So maybe this time we'll add another background and we'll add that same background that we used before. Again, we'll just resize it a little bit. And that looks good enough for the demo. And then maybe we'll add, we'll do something a bit different. We'll add a display capture so we can actually capture this display here. And we'll add that as a source and we'll leave it named as display capture. And here I can actually select my screens, but because I'm only using the one screen at the moment, you can actually crop it to a specific window. So if we select to window, it gives us the option. And in this case, we will just go with something like a settings for, or in fact, we'll just select Streamlabs OBS itself and hit done. So now we have this. Obviously it's absolutely huge. Again, we'll resize this. This is probably not the best example for a display capture scene, just because normally you'd probably want a display to be a bit more legible. But if I wanted, I could have it something like that if I wanted. And that's just kind of the example. You can add so many different things, like you can add maybe audio input devices. So for example, I could we'll add my sound card, which is the complete one. And again, it allows us to select all of our different things. So for example, if you're doing your game capture, and you want to capture the audio from your game, you could just add your game capture there. But in this case, we can select that and done. And what that does is it brings us to this screen here where we have the mixer. As you can see, it's picking up my voice from a secondary microphone as well. And you can add as many audio devices as you see fit. If I wanted background music, for example, I could just add a media source here, for example. And we'll just go ahead and do that. Add a, let's just say song, and add source, and it allows us to select a file. So again, we'll just come in here and we'll just select, this is a song that I made years ago, and we can loop that song if we want. So you just put it on loop and we can hit done, right? And straight away you can see that it's actually playing the song through the mixer as well. So it's really flexible what you can do with Streamlabs OBS. And obviously once we've built our scenes, we now have the ability to switch between the different scenes as our stream requires. So you can go live straight from Streamlabs OBS, which is really cool. You don't really have to be messing around with opening up a internet browser and going to your YouTube and starting the stream and all that kind of stuff. It's pre-configured inside Streamlabs OBS. You can just go live straight away. Additionally, you can also record your content. So you can just hit this record button right here and it will capture that. And I believe you may even be able to record and go live simultaneously. I'll fact check that for you and leave that in the description, but I'm pretty sure that is definitely possible. So yeah, that's really cool. But the thing that makes this even more powerful is its integration points. We now have the ability to integrate with things like Elgato Stream Deck. which is a popular hardware device that many streamers out there are using. Depending on which Stream Deck you get, they have different sizes. So I believe they have the Elgato Stream Deck Mini, the Elgato Stream Deck, and the Elgato Stream Deck XL. I personally have the Elgato Stream Deck. And so my one has, I believe, 15 keys, and you can program these keys to do anything you want. So for example, I could program my Elgato Stream Deck to switch scenes. I could program maybe to switch off a specific source. So maybe I want to stop the music on this scene or something, so I can actually stop that there. It gives us that. So just have a quick look at the Elgato Stream Deck configuration software and show you what I mean. Right, so here we have the Elgato Stream Deck configuration software, right? So you have our keys here are programmable. We can drag and drop anything we want inside here. On the right hand side, we have some of our integration points where we can drop. And as you can see, Streamlabs OBS is one of them. So we'll just hit that and you can see some of the different options we have. So for example, we'll add a scene here. So from that, we'll just leave that one as scene and we'll call this one main scene. And this will actually appear on my hardware device. Right? We'll add another scene as well, which will be the second scene that we created. And we'll call this one camera. And we'll just select a different scene from down here. And now on my actual hardware device, which is really hard for me to demonstrate without another camera angle, if I press these buttons, it will actually switch between the different scenes in my Streamlabs OBS. Right? We can do things like add a record button there. So if we want to start recording what we're doing, we can add a stream button there. So if we want to go live straight from Streamlabs OBS, we can just hit that and then we'll be live straight to YouTube in my case. So these things are really powerful integration points. So as a streamer, all I have to do is play the game, fire up Streamlabs OBS, and now because I have my Elgato Stream Deck here to my right, I can just control these things and switch between different scenes, go live, whatever it is, control it just from the touch of a button without really having to mess around with the software, which can be a little bit distracting when you're in the middle of playing games. So these things are really, really powerful. Okay, so we've looked at Streamlabs OBS, where you can get it from, how you can set up some of the configurations of it, and pretty much how you can use it. So that has been another Gaming Tech Chat. I hope you liked it. If you did like it, give me a thumbs up on the video. If not already, please consider subscribing to the channel and I will catch you on the next one, peeps. Peace out.